There we go. We're on.
Yeah.
How you
so
doing,
cool.
you guys?
Hey everyone. I'm Sarah. This is Brandon, and we are here with Connect. Today we are going to be teaching you all how to make.
Oh, I'm going to be making some sugar glazed pork chops. It's going to be awesome with root vegetables.
I'm really excited. I'm going to be making an Angel's Envy pineapple sour.
And today's music selection is Sturgill Simpson. So I haven't checked on him since he got the COVID, but
Hopefully all is well with him.
Hopefully all is well to him and his family. Great music for everybody.
We got a couple extras. So we've got Sturgill. For all my family that's watching, you guys will appreciate this one. We've got some Jesse D. And one of your favorites.
Unknown Mortal Orchestra. This is a great band. I love those guys. They're from Portland / New Zealand.
Yeah, it's really solid. Really good music. I'm super excited.
Well, great to have all of you guys here with us for this cooking and drinking demo, which is going to be fantastic. I'm going to start off by cutting up some of these root vegetables that we're going to be putting into it. I've already heated my oven at 350. So just start your oven for 350 and let it heat up so you can put the vegetables in, because that's going to be the first thing that you're going to do. And I'll just walk you through that a little bit. So if you have been following the ingredients that were online from you guys' refrigerator, which I absolutely love taking the ingredients that you guys send me and making something out of it. So this was really fun for me to come up with. But one of them was potatoes. So I got 2 golden potatoes, but you can sub this out for just 1 regular potato if you want to. And then you're going to take a large carrot.
That is a really big carrot. Where did you find that thing?
You need that, man. We actually got this from a food exchange here in Nashville.
Oh, that's right. That was super cool. Shout out
you want to tell them about that? Yeah.
So speaking of COVID, I know we brought that up a second ago, but and here in Nashville, a lot of people have been doing these wonderful things for service industry folks. So some of our food right now has been provided by Fat Bottom Brewery. They were kind enough to create grocery bags for service industry members out of work. So now we have
a giant carrot. So thank you guys over there.
That's awesome.
We really appreciate it. And we're also got some red potatoes. So I'm going to use a couple of those small, and 1 red onion.
That is an onion.
And you can kind of swap these things out. Like as far as root vegetables go, a lot of them you can swap out. So if you want to put like rutabagas or something into this, then it works the absolute same way. We just have to remember, if you have a tough vegetable, tough root vegetable like a potato, then we're going to parboil those first before we put those in the oven. And the very important thing is that you have these 2 apples, because it's going to add a lot of sweetness and a lot of juiciness to your vegetable blend that you're going to sit your pork chops.
I'm glad I didn't eat those earlier, because I definitely almost.
But I bought some extra ones because I thought that might be a risk if there was like a lot of apples in the house, because it's a great snack. You don't have to worry about skinning your potato down, or your potatoes or your carrots down. A lot of people will take the skin off of them. It's not something that you have to really worry about in this, because they're going to be sitting in the oven for about 40 minutes, and that'll break all of that down. So you don't really have to worry about the skin on it being tough and having a texture issue once your dish is finished. So you just want to cut this into about 3/4 inch medallions.
All right, hold on. Don't cut anything. Quality control.
In your onion, you want to cut it straight through the middle. So cut both of your sides off of it to get the skin off. And the top layer of skin doesn't need anything, so you can just let that go. All your flavor is going to be closer to the inside of the onion, but you want to put it all in together. So you just peel that outside layer of skin off, like so. Then you're going to cut it into, let's just do eighths for this.
What'd you say? I didn't hear.
Eighths.
Eighths?
Yeah, just cut it into eighths.
I don't think people realize that, like, when we're doing this, I'm literally learning as well. You'd think for living with a chef I would know how to cook, but this is all new to me too.
So just if you cut it in 4 ways, just like that, then it will be 4. So you cut another line through here and here, and that turns it into 8. And that'll be perfect for what we're doing right now, since it's going to go in the pan and we're going to get the flavor from it cooking slowly. Like I was talking about before, your potatoes, you don't have to worry about taking the skin of them for this recipe. So you can just cut that into about a 1/3 of an inch chunks, and then we're going to parboil the potatoes.
What does that mean?
So parboiling is cooking something, or any type of par cooking is cooking it up to the temperature that it's supposed to be cooked at, and then cooking it again before it actually gets on the plate. So what we're going to do is boil these potatoes, and we're going to get them up to temperature, and then we're going to put them into the oven, and then we're going to cook them again with the pork. So you could eat them straight from out of the pot, but for the sake of this recipe, we're going to cook them 2 times. So anything that gets par cooked, that's the
Par cooked? That's what kind of like PAR?
Yes, PAR, par cooked. It's like a par and golf, same thing.
Learn something new.
So it just gets it to the minimum. So just like your par in golf is the minimum, if you have like a par 4 course, then like if you get 4 strokes, then that's your minimum to do good. So par cooking is the same thing. You're just going to get it to the temperature that it's supposed to be served at.
Look, I know that we don't have sports on TV right now, but that's everyone's daily fix right there.
Yeah, there it is, man. I'm a big basketball fan, man, so I really miss basketball. I've grown up my whole life watching that, and it's crazy to miss out on the whole season. It's never happened in my life. So.
You know it's getting real when baseball's off.
Man, it's such a big deal. Baseball hasn't been canceled since World War II, where women's played instead of men. So
it wasn't even canceled?
Yeah, it still wasn't canceled. They made a way.
Do you cut all the potatoes the same way?
Yeah, all the potatoes are going to get cut the same way, and the apples are as well. So the thing that we're going to do with the potatoes, as far as parboiling them, we won't do with the apples. So we're going to go ahead and cut the apples up, but we're going to leave them to roast in the pan with the rest of the ingredients.
Is there a name for that particular cut? When I cook, I'm like, just cut it in chunks.
Yeah, it is, and like this is the simplest like cut, so it's really easy to get away with. You're just cutting it into chunks, and if you want to do it like a little bit smaller, that's fine. But as you start to go bigger and smaller on the cuts, it's going to mess with your integrity as far as when you're cooking the dish. So you're going to have more texture the bigger that you cut these pieces, and you're going to have less the smaller that you cut them. So I like to keep them at about the 3/4 and 1/2 inch size, so it has a nice bite to it when it comes out of the oven.
This is a really good song.
But if you want it to be a little bit more mushy, then you can cut it a little bit smaller than that. And if you want it to be a little bit more textured and dense, then you can cut it bigger than that.
I'm going to creep on the side so I can see what you're doing. Mind your way?
No, you're good. And if I was a G right now, I would core this apple, but we're just going to cut around it because it'll be fine.
Maybe we can plant the seeds outside the greenhouse.
Maybe. Sarah built a whole greenhouse over the past 2 days, which was amazing.
It was something.
I think you did a great job.
That was probably the most difficult project I've ever taken on. I got this greenhouse from a friend on Facebook, which is kind of cool since we're on Facebook Live right now. But yeah, I'm part of this gardening group, and this guy was getting rid of a greenhouse. I think his wife wanted it to go away, to be honest with you.
His wife definitely.
Oh, she was so over it.
She was done with it.
But this greenhouse, it came without instructions. So I mean, like I'm moderately handy, but this was a feat. So it probably took me, like 12 hours
Something like that, yeah.
Borrowed a band, or what do you call it, a miter saw?
Miter saw.
Yeah, borrowed a miter saw, built a base. So hopefully some of the next episodes we do of this, we'll be using a little bit more from our own garden, which is really cool.
If you guys remember last time, I did use some of the rosemary that Sarah grew outside, and she's so wonderful. She always just like keeps some fresh herbs going around that I can use in my recipes, and that's such a blessing. I absolutely love it.
Hey, will you after you're done cutting that, will you text what do you call it, or post our link?
Sure, yeah, what do you want me to post it for?
Post it on Facebook.
I'll post it everywhere.
Post it everywhere.
Okay. I'm not even sure where my phone is. Like, I'm not a big cell phone person, so my cell phone gets like left sitting around a great deal, and this is one of those times right now. But also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pot right here, and I'm going to take these potatoes, and I'm going to boil off these potatoes. It doesn't really matter if you get the water boiling first or anything like that. It's not like we're cooking pasta. So you can just throw all the potatoes in, and it takes about maybe 15 minutes before it gets to the point where you want to transfer them. Those beautiful potatoes.
Those pretty solid potatoes.
Yeah, so yeah, you want that though.
Was that carrot?
That was a carrot, yes.
Want some help?
You want to put some water in there?
Yeah, just fill it to, where am I filling it to?
Right here.
Covering the top of it?
Yeah, just so when it boils, it doesn't run over.
Alright. Does that look good to you?
That's awesome.
I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm probably half an inch over the top of the potatoes. So not an exact measurement, but you know.
I'm actually gonna put some more in there, and since we're just par cooking these, it's okay if you just throw the rest of the potatoes in. Just make sure it's not too long into the cooking process.
Should I add more water?
Because they're gonna go back in the oven. No, it's fine.
Okay.
Just throw it on.
What am I putting it on high?
High.
High.
All the way up.
420 high.
That was yesterday.
What else do you have going on over here? Just potatoes?
Actually, what I'm about to pull out is the most exciting part of the meal to me, because I'm such a carnivore and such a fan of old school cooking principles and all of that, like things that got us here. So like I get really excited about butchering. I really love butchering, and I love like big slabs of meat and things that you can forage and find. So these things are awesome. I picked up some pork chops because actually the pork chops that I had in the refrigerator were too small for this recipe to be done the way that I like it. But if you have some thin pork chops in your refrigerator, your freezer, it's completely fine. You just have to modify the cook time a little bit, because we're going to sear them in a pan first before we put them in the oven and put the glaze in them. So if you have thinner pork chops, then you just sear them for less time and then put it in. But you do have to make sure that your vegetables get done cooking. So you can't skip on the vegetable cooking time, but just give or take whatever your pork chop cut is like, and that's how long it's going to be in. So we have some thick cut pork chops, so they're going to be done for about 3 minutes on each side to get a proper sear on them. And I have made this beautiful spice mix.
Show them the top of it so you can see into it.
Yeah,
look at that.
Very nice.
Where'd you get the spices from?
The spices came from a collection of different places just around town here in Nashville. But I like to shop around and see what I can get. The fruit market, which is a Mexican store that's about 2 miles up the street from me, is a really big go-to for me. Like I go there for absolutely everything that they have. I'll probably check there first before I would go to like a normal grocery store or something like that. I like to just go check the different markets out and see what all the different growers and producers and things like that are coming up with around my area, and then I try to cook something based off of that. So I get a lot of my spices from the Uptown Food Market.
Jesse Pizza.
Shout out.
This is an old record. I haven't heard this one in a while.
All right, so what we're going to do now is start to prepare everything. We're going to put all of our ingredients in the oven and into the glaze, and we're going to sprinkle the spice mix on top of the pork chops. And I know you guys have salt and pepper in your recipe, and the reason that I didn't put a quantity for the salt and pepper is because I like to do that to taste. Like where people will have salt and pepper on the table, I like to leave it in the care of the people that it's cooking. Because if you're cooking for someone, then you're probably cooking for someone that you love. So I like to be up to you how much salt and pepper that you want. So we're gonna take these delicious pork chops.
We'll open it up. Nobody wants to see a brown bag.
Open it up on camera in front of everyone.
This is the great review.
So good.
It's like one of those YouTube opening up a shoebox for the first time.
This is it. This is my shoe video. I am Mr. Farmer Simpson. Look at that.
You know what? That's just sexy.
I'm so happy with these. And like I said, these are a little bit of a thick cut. So if your pork chops are thinner than this, then just sear them for less time. What I'm going to do is put the spice mix onto these guys and salt and pepper them, and then I'm going to sear them in a pan for 3 minutes on each side.
There's extra high right now. Look at that thing.
Yeah, you can leave both of them on high.
Oh, that's crazy.
This is one of the only times, the amp is never supposed to go to 10, even though this one goes to 11, the amp is never supposed to go to 10. This is one of the only times that it's okay for you to turn the stove all the way up. We have a gas range here, so it heats up really quick. But if you have an electric eye on your stove at home, then just give that a little bit more time to heat up because you want to make sure the pan is extra, extra hot before you put these pork chops in so you can get a real nice crisp skin on them. And then also you want to do the same thing with the vegetables if you're being time sensitive because you want those to cook up really fast so we can put them in the pan with the pork chops. You take your olive oil. You want to do just enough to coat the pan, so 1 to 2 tablespoons. You just throw that in there like that. You want to let that heat up, and while you're letting it heat, that's when you're going to start putting your spices onto your pork chop. So you salt and pepper it to taste as much as you want on there, and then you're going to sprinkle that spice mix over the top of it.
It's good cooking music.
It's wonderful cooking music. Now look at those beauties.
Do you want a pan for that? You want someone to put it in?
I can season them on the and then they're going to go straight into this really hot oil that we have on the stove.
Do you want anything else to put in them? Are you good?
Nah, they're good for now.
Alright. I'm just listening to you.
You can actually, if you want to take the rest of that potato like that,
Yeah.
throw that into
All
the boiling water. Yeah, just scoop it up and throw it in there.
Hey, where did those pork chops come from again?
Those are from Porter Road Butcher, which is right down the street from us. They're absolutely wonderful butcher shop. I love everything that they have. Best bacon selection you could ever ask for. Everything else is great too. The honey mustard that we're going to be cooking with today came from them as well. It's a Dijon mustard, which is one of my favorites. But you can use a whole grain mustard or you can use a Dijon mustard for this recipe, and it'll get the same effect. It's all going into the glaze. The important part is that you balance the mustard and the sugar with the taste of it. It's all going to bake up the same. You can actually save some of this. And the base that I'm using for it is kind of like what you would use on a ham.
Okay, side note, for anyone at home who is cutting apples and potatoes, red potatoes with the skin on and red apples look identical once they're cut. So you you might be getting some boiled apples in here too. I'm trying my best, but it's kind of crazy.
I'm not upset about that. That's okay.
No, Ozzy's joining us. What happens if I'm not getting all of them?
If you don't get all of them, it's okay.
What is happening? Alright,
So right now, I'm sprinkling the salt and pepper and the spice mix on top.
Do you think this is an apple or a potato?
You gotta taste it.
Alright, I'm gonna taste it, but I'm not gonna make an expression. I want you to taste it too. You ready?
Alright, as a chef, you have to taste everything every day.
Alright, you ready to taste it?
Yes.
Oh, here. Alright.
I think it's a potato.
Oh, that's weird. It's really weird. Raw potato is not good.
It's not. I'm so sorry.
I won't even make you taste it. Alright, definitely separate the apples and the potatoes because that was not a good experiment. Thank you for that.
Very good stuff.
I'm glad that you got some joy out of that.
I did. The best time of my life.
Ozzy, what are you doing?
So just salt and pepper to your taste. And then put your spice mix that we've made on top of it. And you want to put a decent amount of the spice mix because you're going to glaze over it. So you want the flavors to combine. So you want there to be a lot of spice on the actual pork chop. So the glaze doesn't take over the flavor of the meat and the spices together. So that's why we're cooking those first, and we're going to add the glaze on the back end of it.
Well, be careful what you drop because Ozzy's floating around and he's trying to eat the scraps.
Ozzy's my favorite. Ozzy's one of our cats, and I absolutely love him because he's the best.
Ozzy! I don't know if people can see him or not. There he is. What are you doing, buddy?
He wants to be a singer. So take these beautiful pork chops that we put our spice mix on top of with our salt and pepper to your taste, and then add them to this hot oil. You know, let those go for 2 minutes on each side. Maybe about 3 if you wait about 2 minutes, and then you just kind of peel the end of the pork chop back. If it's got a nice brown cover over all the points that are touching the pan, then it's okay to flip it. If not, then give it 1 more minute. So it's 2 or 3 minutes, depending on what your stove is like. We're cooking on a gas range, so it gets hot a little bit faster than an electric would. So it's probably going to be closer to the 2 minutes than 3 on our side. But we'll check it out in a couple of minutes and see if we're ready to flip it. Just make sure it's nice and brown on both sides.
Do we need to cover the potatoes or are they good like this?
Absolutely not. They're great.
They're good? Okay.
They're great.
You're the expert. I am just following your cooking lead.
And I was talking about the sauce that we were making earlier. So I have some of it here. And this is what your Dijon mustard and your honey and your brown sugar is all going to go into. So you will mix them all together, but I'm going to make some live for you just so you get the part about having the butter. It's very important. So I went ahead and took my butter out early, and I just sat it by the stove. You want to make sure that your butter is soft before you start mixing ingredients into it. So you're going to take the rest of the brown sugar, and you're going to take the honey, and you're going to... I have all the rest of the stuff back here. I'm going to show you. So you take the brown sugar and the honey, the apple juice, and the vinegar. We use apple cider vinegar. It's time for us to put our pork chops.
Smells so good.
You just mix all of those things together.
Well, I'm
and
going to
that's how
zoom
you're
in.
going to get this glaze, and you want it to be nice and thick like that.
Alright, I'm going to zoom in on these pork chops real quick. I feel like the world needs to see this.
And what you guys want to check out too is like make sure that you have a really nice browning on this. When you flip it over, you want it to look like that. Like you want it to be very brown when you flip it over. The whole point of us throwing it in right now is to sear it because the oven is going to cook it the rest of the way. We just want to make sure we have a nice bite to it.
side note, you guys, we are trying out a new platform with this. So unfortunately, we can't see any of your comments or questions. So if anyone has questions about what we're cooking so far, or later on when we do drinks, please feel free to reach out. We are both on Instagram, we're both on Facebook. I believe that we are tagged in this as well. So don't hesitate, ask us any questions regarding this or cooking in general or cocktails in general. We will be more than happy to reach out and answer any questions you might have. I told you this was good cooking music.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
You take all the vegetables that you cut, you're just going to throw them directly into the sauce. You can kind of use your hands and just mix it up a little bit.
Are you saving those apple parts for anything?
No, those are going in too. Everything's going in together. All the vegetables that we cut, they're all going in the pan together. I'm going to throw them straight in the oven. And about this time right now, your potatoes should have been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how quick you are with your hands. And they're going to go in this too. So you just
So you just strain these out?
Yeah, the water we got.
Here. Grab a strainer. Those are good strainers, isn't it?
It's in there somewhere.
Don't tell people how messy this is. Clean that up for sure. Alright, so turn this off.
Yeah, so we're going to turn the potatoes off right now.
That's that behind you hot.
We're going to put them in a deep roasting pan, which all of our stuff is going to go in there. All the vegetables that we cut with the carb-boiled potatoes, they're all going to go in the same pan. And you should have the heat off.
Just put it right on top?
Yes, throw it right in there. There you go. Oh my God, this is beautiful. This is wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Now you should have the heat off on your pork chops right now. And they should have a really nice brown sear on them. All these vegetables that we have here together, you can just stir them up with a spatula since our potatoes are super hot. And make sure those onions get spread out because those onions are going to bring a lot of flavor to your dish and to the rest of your vegetables. So make sure they get spread out nice. You just chop up the little bulbs when you have a piece like this. You just break that down. Just throw it in there.
You think garlic would go good in this?
Actually, what we're going to do is salt and pepper the entire vegetable.
So you're just putting like a handful.
Yeah, so this is about a tablespoon of salt. I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm just going to make sure it's dusted the whole thing, just like dust everything. If you have a really big piece of onion like that that's all skin, get rid of it. And since our pepper is fresh cracked, I'm just going to crack it all over. But if you have like table pepper or something like that that's not cracked in the jar, then do the same thing as you did with the salt and just sprinkle it all over. So I like to use fresh cracked peppercorns.
It smells so good.
All right, and now for the sake of continuity, I'm going to throw everything in the oven together, which is the way that you do cook this. But while it's cooking up, I'm going to show you how to make the glaze. So since we have our glaze already made, we are going to take our pork chops.
You guys want me to put it into a pan?
Nah, it's going straight in here.
Sweet.
And just kind of tile them on top of each other. So you have one going right there. You put the next one touching it, but not overcoming it. And just do that until they go all the way across the pan. Now, these pan drippings that you have inside of this that are from your pork chops, pour that right on top of it. You want to save all of that juice and all of that flavor. That's why we keep the fat and the bone on our pork chop As that cooks up, it's going to give us some more flavor. It's going to cook flavor out of the meat. So we want to save every little bit of that flavor. So we're going to pour it on the top. Now we're going to tuck this in and make sure all of our pieces are inside of the pan. We're going to take this glaze and make sure it's mixed well.
And you said you're going to tell everyone how to make the glaze?
Absolutely. We'll be doing that next. And this glaze, you can use it for this, but you can also use it like if you want to do like a honey baked ham or something like that, then you can use this exact same glaze recipe. It's something that's very simple and goes really awesome on any type of pork or ham that you're trying to do. So what we're going to do for this recipe, we're just going to pour it over and make sure it coats all 4 of our pork chops. Just go back and forth like that. So let's set this on top and that's sexy.
Can I taste it?
Yes, absolutely. Just get every little bit of it. Every little bit of it. It's going to be thick because it's got Dijon and honey in it.
The honey is really prominent. The Dijon's kind of subtle. Like you can taste it for sure, but it's not. Like for me, mustard. I'm not a huge mustard fan. Like that's normally very overwhelming flavor to me. But it's really balanced in this. Like the honey evens it out.
And I made like this recipe with you in mind because I know like you don't like a heavy mustard taste, which I do. Like I would use way more mustard. So like you can go up and down with the mustard on this as long as your honey and your brown sugar is consistent with the sauce. Then if you want to make it more tangy, then you can add some more mustard. What we're gonna do now is take this entire thing. Look at that. Hey, baby.
There you go.
We're going to throw that whole thing in the oven and we're going to let it sit for 20 minutes. We're going to change it at 10. So when it gets to 10, we're going to flip the pork chops over and we're going to stir the vegetables. But it's going to sit in there for 20 minutes.
All right.
You want to get these guys a drink while I'm getting this glaze ready?
Yeah. Well, are we doing both, or what do you want to do?
You can do it.
All right.
I'll just have everything set up. The glaze is throwing everything in a pot. So if you got the recipe ingredients that we put out earlier that were from you guys' refrigerators, then you just take all of those ingredients and you put them together inside of a pot. But the thing is, I want to make sure that you don't scorch your butter. So you want to take your butter, which the best idea is to have it pre-softened, which I've had this butter sitting on the counter for a couple of hours. Just have it pre-softened so when you put everything together and turn the heat on, you don't scorch your butter because you're going to be whisking it very fast.
You good if I make the drink?
Absolutely.
Normally, I'd be drinking throughout this whole thing because nothing is better than cooking and cocktails, but we'll mix it a little bit. Let me just make sure you guys can all see me here. Sorry, we're still getting used to this setup. Let's see. That looks like everything's visible. Okay, so we are making an Angel's Envy pineapple sour. So I don't know about you guys, but when I first started drinking, that was one of, well, it was an amaretto sour, which I probably should admit to, but that was like one of my go-to cocktails. What's really cool is that even though it sounds like an outdated drink, it's really good, it's really relevant, and especially with pork, this is going to pair unbelievably well. So what we're doing is I'm using 1.5 ounces, actually, yeah, let's boost it up a little. Let's do 2 ounces of Angel's Envy. Brandon, go away. You can't see him, but he's got some really,
I'm a dancing machine.
We'll call them creative dance moves. But yeah, so people can actually listen to the recipe. We're doing 2 ounces. Brandon, go away. You guys, the struggle's real. We're using 2 ounces of Angel's Envy. Pour that right in. Just so you guys know, I'm using a shaker. They're pretty easy to find. You can order them on Amazon. You can get them at Target. If you don't have a shaker, still mix all these ingredients together, but we're going to change steps up just a little bit. We'll whisk, we'll stir. But preferably, we're going to shake this cocktail up. So 2 ounces of Angel's Envy. We are going to use about 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. I did not take the time today to portion out all of my juice, so I actually had a good old-fashioned citrus squeezer. This one's kind of cool because it's got a space for limes and lemons, so you're getting a little bit less of the seeds. So we're gonna pop that in, and we've got a really big lemon, of course. You squeeze that right in. So you typically half a lemon is about half an ounce. Oh my god. So hopefully that'll be pretty accurate. You really can't mess this cocktail up though. So we're sitting about a half ounce of lemon juice in there. Now, kind of a secret ingredient for me. I've made a simple syrup that I've infused with basil and pineapple sage. The pineapple sage is kind of a last minute curveball because my greenhouse is taking off and I've got this huge bush of pineapple sage. It's really cool. When you rub the leaves, you get this pineapple smell, but you also get that how would you describe the smell of sage? I mean, you guys know what sage smells like, but it's this really unique flavor.
Clean and earthy.
Yeah, earthy's a good one. But so pineapple sage, basil, I mixed that with a simple syrup mix. So when my sugar and my water was hot, I threw the herbs right in and let it steep like tea. So I let the herbs sit for about an hour, and then I straightened those out and made sure throughout the whole process it was cooling. End result is this really fantastic simple syrup. For those of you who drink vodka sodas, throw a dash of this in. You can mix it with gin. You can mix it with your tea. It doesn't have to be alcoholic, but it's really tasty. Half ounce of that. It's a little thick. Toss it right in. Next, I've got some pineapple juice. We're going to do about half an ounce of that. And then last but not least, and this is probably the most intimidating ingredient for some people, but I promise you it is worthwhile using in a cocktail. We're using an egg white.
That is so good.
You were weirded out the first time you made you drink an egg white cocktail.
I was. It took me a while before I warmed up to it, and being a chef, I've seen eggs used in a lot of different ways, but not in my drink so much. So it was a lot.
It sounds weird, but what it does is this egg white gives your cocktail this really great mouthfeel. So imagine drinking your favorite cocktail, but then having this rich, velvety sort of flavor to it. And it fills up your entire palate and it emphasizes all the flavors that are already in your cocktail. The only thing with egg white, it's not difficult to use, but it adds a couple extra steps to your drink making. Don't drop this egg. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crack the egg and I'm going to make sure that in this cocktail I'm only getting the egg white. You don't want any of the yolk, you don't want any of the shell, just straight egg white. So I hit it right on the side, crack it open, and then what I do is I treat it like a little cup. And I'm just going to go back and forth, and that egg white falls out nice and easy. We'll get rid of that. Now, this is kind of that extra stuff I was telling you guys about. For those of you with a shaker, we are going to shake this without ice. For those of you who are stirring at home, you're going to get a spoon and you are going to stir it really, really fast. But again, no ice. This is very important. This is what builds that froth and that body that the egg white creates. So we're going to shake that really hard. Just for a few seconds. It doesn't need a whole lot. But yeah, give it a good shake. Now, we're going to add some ice. Just a little bit, just enough to keep it cold. Just a few pieces in there. You're gonna shake it again. Again, for those of you who are stirring at home, throw the ice right in, and we're gonna still stir just as fast. The key is you want that speed, so you're building up the froth from the egg white and also from the pineapple. I don't know if you guys know this, but pineapple kind of close to the cream with a really good froth as well. All right, nice and easy. So what we're gonna do is we are going to strain. Brandon, do you see this? Look at the foam that I got out of this.
Amazing. Wow.
Before I add ice, I'm going to bring this up so y'all can see it. It's kind of, remember, we have whiskey in here. So for it to be this light color, that is all egg white and that's all pineapple. That's giving this really, really, you can't even see through it. It's so dense. But
that looks amazing.
Yeah. So you have the option to add ice. I'm going to because I'm going to be sitting in this for a little bit longer than most people, but you don't need it. It works really well in meat. But add a couple pieces of ice. And then what I'm going to do, since I was in the garden already, I told you I put pineapple sage in the actual simple syrup. For those of you who use basil, you can do the exact same thing with basil. Just take a little piece of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack it. This allows all the oil in the leaves to be expressed or released. So even though it already smells good, now it smells even better. That scent is just amplified. I'm going to place it right on top. And there it is. I mean, that probably took all of what, a couple minutes? Easiest cocktail to make.
Not long at all.
This is a showstopper.
When you make that, when it's the barbecue and everybody comes over and they're looking for a drink and you make this, you will absolutely steal the show.
You want to taste it?
I would love to taste that.
That is.
And cheers, everybody on lockdown, man. We're going through a lot of things together, but being in the house all together with your family and your loved ones is bringing a lot of things into perspective. So, cheers to that.
Also, shout out to Angel's Envy for helping us out with this cocktail. It's my absolute favorite spirit. As you all know, I'm one of the Nashville whiskey guardians, and a couple of people I think they're watching. So Clayton, hi Holly. But yeah, so this is we're making this cocktail thanks to them, and I'm super grateful to be sitting here talking to you. Thanks for Connect to make this happen.
By the way, shout out to Robert and Patrick and Don watching this. I'm repping the New York shirt for you guys. I'm from Georgia, you guys, but like Sarah's from New York.
I'm gonna need this cocktail to be cooking with you all night.
Speaking of cooking all night,
are they ready? Is it about that time?
well, it's time to flip the chop.
We flip it?
Yeah, we got another 10 minutes of cooking going on, so you're gonna pull them out. And I was talking about before, the size of your pork chops is going to determine how long you're actually gonna keep them in there. So I'm gonna flip mine and I'm gonna put it back in for another 10 minutes and they'll be done. But you wanna make sure that your pork is cooked to 155. So if you have a thermometer, you can just stab it in the middle or.
Have you ever had a moment when you're cooking or like you're making something at home and like you know what you're doing, like you know it's really tasty and you're really excited about it, but then like you make it and it exceeds all your expectations? Yes. That's the stuff. I need you to try this again. Like,
I would love to do that. Oh my god,
I
you
really
guys
hope
can
you guys
smell this. It smells so awesome.
I mean, this smells amazing, but until this is done, I'm gonna be freaking out about this cocktail. Can you please try this again? Because it's better.
It's amazing.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's throw that back in the oven for another 10 minutes because my pork chops are pretty thick. And I'm gonna show you guys how to make the glaze.
That's so good. It smells so good. This cocktail is so good.
Oh my god, it smells awesome.
That's the only thing that I wish.
As soon as we get a way to let you smell this through the phone, man, I promise, bro. Like I will be there for you.
That's
awesome.
That's the only thing this thing is missing. Like if they could smell this.
That's ASMR.
No, that's when they do the whispery sounds.
Okay, so this glaze only has 5 ingredients, and the way that I'm making it is going to be pretty balanced. You can take these up or down as much as you want to. Like I was talking about earlier, if you want to make it a little bit more spicy, then you just add more of your either Dijon or brown mustard. And I was lucky enough to go to Porter Road, who I mentioned earlier, and they gave me this Lusty Monk Original Sin fresh ground mustard, which is the most horseradishy, pleasant thing that you will ever put in your mouth. It's fantastic. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate you for having that.
Honestly, as a non-mustard fan, like I don't really mess around with mustard too much, but like that, it's good mustard.
It's delicious. There's so much horseradish in this.
It really, like, it tastes more like horseradish than mustard.
It's so good. So we're going to take that, and our other 4 ingredients is going to be vinegar. We're using apple cider vinegar, just like straight up out the Kroger. It doesn't matter. You can use white vinegar. You can use whatever vinegar you got on hand. You're only using a tablespoon of it, so it doesn't matter. You're going to need some brown sugar, like D'Angelo. You're gonna need some honey. Clover honey is probably the best for this recipe, but if you got some type of spice honey or whatever, it's fine. And then you're gonna need 100% apple juice. So your butter that's been softened, just gonna throw that into a pot. You're gonna put it on high because you want all this to cook really fast. You want the ingredients and all the flavors to come together really fast. It's gonna have whatever amount of cooling time that you actually want to put on it. Because like I said, you can just put this glaze in the refrigerator and you can use it for whatever you want to put it on. I think it goes best with any type of pork, but you can use it on anything, like whatever you feel like. It's got a lot of honey in it. It's sweet and tasty, so whatever you want to use it on. So you turn that butter that's softened all the way up on high. You want to add all of your ingredients with your brown sugar going in last. So we're going to do a tablespoon of apple juice. Tablespoon of vinegar. And kind of a rule of thumb when you're combining anything is like you want the softest ingredients to go in first, and then you want the hardest ingredients to go in last. So if you're making something like ranch, right, you put the buttermilk in first, put the spices in first, and then you'll come later with like the mayonnaise. So that's why we got all this stuff that's in here with the butter. These are our softest ingredients, so they're going to go in first. Let that cook up with the butter, and while that's cooking up, then we're gonna measure out our honey and our brown sugar. Pyrex for the win. Once that's nice and hot and it's rumbling around the pot like that, once it's warm, Dijon. And at this point is where you're going to start whisking it. You're going to start whisking like the living crap out of this.
This is such a good song.
I love this song. Honey. And remember, at this point, you're going to be whisking really heavy and the heat is still on high. You want to add your brown sugar. You're going to do that. Just whisk that for about another minute, and then you're going to cut the heat completely off and let it sit.
Is there a name for your stir technique and beer tooth combo?
I wish there was, man. I wish there was. I might go like sell it to somebody or whatever. But you want to make sure you got this nice little color going on. Like let's see if I can show it to you guys without spilling it. It's a nice brown color. It's like really awesome. And if you use the whole grain mustard or the honey mustard that was recommended, then all the seeds will just float on the top. So you want to make sure when you're adding this onto something, if you want to bake a ham or something like that, you want to make sure it's distributed evenly. So you want to make sure you get like all of those little peppercorns and shit like spread it all over the entire thing. Is which we did when we did the pork chops. We went back and forth to make sure everything got evenly covered. A lot of your flavor is going to be there.
Just put the extra glaze on mine, okay?
The extra glaze is going in the refrigerator. No matter what Sarah says, we're gonna save that for a future ham. Maybe we should do a ham. Let's do a ham tomorrow.
That's a lot of pork.
Ham's awesome. It is a lot of pork, but I love it.
Yeah.
Ham is great.
Look.
And also we have a pineapple.
No, she's stealing my pineapple.
That also came from the Uptown Fruit Market. So if we're gonna do a ham right now, this is the time where we have a fresh ripe pineapple.
Maybe next show.
All over it.
Let's maybe when we come back for our next Facebook Live.
Maybe so. I'm gonna check our pork chops now, and just make sure that when you're checking yours, the difference of thickness on the pork chop is gonna affect your cook time. Just make sure it's 155 before you pull it out. As close you can get to that 155 is where you want to be at. You know, if you can get it to 156, then you're a boss. Woo!
Oh my god.
Woo!
Here, let me help you with this. Make sure they can see what's going on. Stop moving it. I'll move for you.
Woo! Oh my god, this is what we're working with right now.
Okay, back up from it so I can see it. There you go. Ooh, there we go. That's it.
I'm just gonna sit there right here on the cutting board, and we're gonna divide it up.
So it's done now, right?
Yes, a done deal. You can serve this any way that you want to. Since it's a date night meal, I like to make it in like servings that can be like one-on-one type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I get a pork chop and Sarah gets a pork chop, and we just spoon the vegetables on top of it. I like to do it like that. And hopefully Josh and Summer, I don't know if y'all are watching right now, but I told y'all to come and pick up these extra 2 pork chops. And if y'all don't get here in the next hour or so, no guarantees. Just saying. I think it's very beautiful cut. Tastes fantastic. And the way that I like to eat it is like on top of plate, the pork chop, and put the vegetables just all around it on the plate. And it's good if you serve it like with a side salad or something like that. That's absolutely cool. But I like to just take like a very full forkful of the pork chop, just cut a piece of that, and then stab every vegetable that I possibly can and put them on there like a mini shish kebab, and it's fantastic.
We haven't made shish kebabs in a while.
It's been a minute. I think I have to make some sauce, and we can do some shish kebabs.
There you go. That's the stir. Hey, so that being said, we base these ingredients, or we base these recipes off of the ingredients that you guys have given us. So please, please, please reach out to Connect Nashville. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. If you have anything that you want us to cook or any ingredients laying around your house,
what's in your refrigerator?
let us know what you have, and we will turn it into a delicious date night meal. This recipe was so easy to make, and it's hard to believe. Oh wait, where is it? Get a little crazy over there. But yeah, so this recipe was made from stuff that you guys suggested. So really simple ingredients, really easy to make. We've been with you all for just about an hour, and we have, I mean, really an unbelievable meal put together, plus a cocktail, and we are always open to more suggestions.
Okay, I gotta show you guys the bite. I'm gonna take one bite before this is all over. And talking about kebab style, trying to put a piece of everything that I can onto this. So I definitely want to get an apple.
All right, you should remind people too, though, that you have a kitchen mouth that can eat anything at like full temperature.
Oh, it's going to be very hot. It's going to be very hot. So as soon as you pull,
you're not normal.
Disclaimer: when you pull everything out of the oven, it's going to be super hot. So don't just throw it in your mouth. So like, this is what we're working with, you guys. I'm so happy.
Is it good? What am I cutting off here? I'm just going to. Hey, let's plate this up. Brandon, let's plate this up. Let's make it look pretty.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm bugging. This is delicious.
That's really good.
So as far as plating goes, like I was talking about earlier, like you're just gonna put it on the plate with everything as it was cooked together. So take a whole chop, right? You want to make it look good for your date, right? You know what I'm saying? If you want to impress her or him. So make sure you get some nice color. Make sure you get some carrots in there and some apples. And my favorite part's the onion. You know, serve it just like this. If you want to put a side salad with that, like that is absolutely fantastic.
I don't even think it needs it though. Look how good that looks.
I eat it just like this. And that's what we're working on right now.
Well, let's put them together. Let's see what the two of them look like. All right, so there it is, you guys. We have, well, I'll come back over here so you can see us both. Hot mess. But, all right, so I think that that wraps up our quarantine date night cocktail and dinner pairing.
Thank you everybody for joining us. We're so happy to cook and make these drinks for you, and like it feels like everybody's just here with us and a part of our kitchen and a part of our community when you join us for these demonstrations. I absolutely love it, and I hope you guys cook these same pork chops because they bless it.
And again, thank you Connect Nashville for having us. Guys, please follow them on Facebook and Instagram. We will be hosting a few more quarantine date night episodes coming up. So if there's anything you want us to make, again, please reach out, give us your ingredients. We are happy to come up with stuff. Feel free to reach out to us personally on Instagram. My Instagram name is Saturn. That's SAATUURN.
And I am BEZTHCTV.
If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We would love to help you out. This is so much fun for us. This is kind of what we do in our spare time anyway. So if we could share our love for cocktails and cooking with you, that makes our day a lot better. And again, thank you to Angel's Envy. Thank you again to Connect. This has been such a treat.
You know what? I'm making Pabil next time. What's up? Let's go. Pabil next time. 12-hour recipe. Let's go.
See you guys. Thank you so much.